Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Now, I have been basically working on a different type of drone. The specifics of it, I really won't get into just because there's a lot to it. But let me explain the concept. The concept behind this is that these four engines, all four engines, can transition forward when the fixed wing is on here, and I can use these two as aileron control as well once transitioned. The rear can stay either fixed when it's in transition mode forward, or the front can. One of them will be pitch. So roll, pitch. If I said that wrong before, sorry. These will be roll. This or this will be pitch, depending on the CG of the wing. Once I get the main wing, it's basically a flying wing. So I'm going to kind of show you where I'm at this point. If you look at INAV, in drone mode, we go to the mixer, and I don't know how much of this is wrong. See, I've got mixer transition. 1, 2, 3, 4. They should all go forward. This one won't move just because I haven't got it drilled and tapped in yet. I'm going to be printing support structures for some of the air, what's going on here. But this is what's going on INAV right now. And if I switch it, it should take me to plane. Okay. Now the servos they're making a noise. I don't know what they're doing. They are transitioning super slow. Now, obviously, if you look at INAV, you'll see that my servos I again have mixer transition, and then on stabilize roll, stabilize pitch on the ones that I indicated. You see, it's doing something very weird right now. Hold on. Okay, well, I don't know why it took its time, but it did. And forgive me, I have very little room right here to work with. But when I work it, yeah, that'll pitch the starboard side up. That'll pitch the port side up. But the idea is to have it like ailerons, in a sense. I guess in a sense it is, but see, they're level at this point. So pitch, obviously. Oh, now that one's working. Wasn't working before. Okay. This is supposed to be this way, but like again, I haven't completely and totally tucked everything in yet. You see how it's wanting to move on its own. It's just because it's loose. So it'll pitch up and down, and it'll give me my... Which way was that going? So, yeah. So it's going the opposite direction. And the reason for that is so it kind of has this kind of angled swoop pitch control. And then pitch with these engines. I want to try and do this on a wing with no control surfaces. I want the thrusters to be the control surfaces. So the central design of the actual hub or the main fuselage is going to be fairly unique. And then I'll have it set up to where I can put different wings on. The idea is vertical takeoff and landing, which is why I'm going with fairly small batteries at about 3,000 milliamps per. And it's going to be 6L. These are all 6L 70 millimeter motors that I have in here. I think they're 11 or 12 blade. Anyway, my point is, my mixer settings I'm kind of having trouble with. Now I'm going to go to the outputs so you can kind of see what's going on in plane mode. So I'm getting this to where, like, if you look at 3 will go down to 15, and I let it go to center, and it's maxed at 2,000. I go right with the aileron, and I get 15 on 4, and then back to 1,000 when I like go to center. So you can kind of see how that's working. I'll try and put the video in there so you can see. Now, the pitch, same thing. So I'm kind of weirded out by this. But if I transition back, it does it really slow for some reason. And I have to get a little bit more clearance in there so it doesn't, so it stops rolling off the bottom of that motor. Again, don't pay attention to this one. I'm still working on it. So now, for some reason, if you look at number 3 on the servo, it's off. I don't know why any of these, other than being at, because see, 3 should be at 2,000 with the rest of them, I assume, if we're all rotating the same direction. So, but in the mixer, I've got 3 as mixer transition, so it should be mixer transition. If you look at my timers, S1, S2, I've got 4 motors and I've got 4 servos. So I am not that familiar with INAV. I'm just not. So if anyone can help me understand this VTOL situation, then, you know, I'll have something here. The fact that I can control the servos that I transition with is kind of nice. It's kind of a new thing, but I don't know, like if you look at the mixer, the servo mixer and the motor mixer, I don't know what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And then someone goes, well, you know, you got to write a CLI program for that. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the world do I do? I don't know anything about the CLI, but all I know is that it functions properly. I can arm it. So it works like it's supposed to, and it'll transition once I get this one attached. And then it switches back again. So we're doing good on the Y4 as far as that goes. The only problem I'm having is my mixer setup. I don't know how to set the mixer setup because these servos, if I transition, they have a lot more movement than that. They have about 270 degrees. So where do you program that in? Where you set those endpoints for that? And what's also causing on the output side, what's causing my forward to go, like when I, let's say, want an aileron to the starboard side, then you would expect thrust on this side to push it up. I don't get any downward thrust here because this doesn't move. And on INAV, as you can see, it's only 4 moving when it should be 4 and 5, like evenly. So when I you get the idea. You know how ailerons work. So what am I doing, or what do I need to do to get that aileron action that I'm looking for? For one. 2, to get the pitch control I'm looking for, because it seems like I can go back to 15 and then up to 15 on the pitch. So that's where I'm at this. Any suggestions for this would be great. I do not know INAV. I don't know it very well. A lot of people are running the CLI for VTOL. I know I need to slow the transition down when I'm going from lifting to fixed wing forward flight so it doesn't stall out. So I need to know how to adjust those speeds. And I need to know how to get my full aileron control like it's supposed to. Like when I go, I'm doing it fast, left and right. And you can see it happening in INAV the way it is. But realistically, when I should get, when I bank to the right, like what I'm doing right now is bank right. then the starboard aileron thruster should point down. That way I can kind of limit how much movement is needed for that thrust vectoring. So I'm trying to get away from a system that uses control surfaces on the wings and bringing it all into the centralized area of the control system. So everything is controlled in just right here. So I can change that wing out. I can change out anything I want to on the actual fuselage as far as testing aerodynamics and testing how much lift can I run. I mean, eventually this is going to run a heavier wing, not a heavier wing, but a larger wing that has enough lift where these 470 millimeter motors can basically be at an idle, and this thing can be controlled by not just INAV, but what was the other one I was trying to use? It was the mission planner on, I forget what it's called, but it was mission planner. And the idea is that this could run at a low idle and stay aloft. Plus, it's an experimental system with the EDFs, because everyone's like, drones, EDFs, you can't do it. Or you can, but it has to be small, compact, really lightweight. I have gone through multiple iterations of this. Everything from starting off with a Speedy V405, you know, just a regular old drone controller, now to the wing. The wing didn't have enough power on the ESC because at full throttle to lift before transition, this is pulling 340 amps. So I used a board I got, it's the ADP power distribution board. It has a max current limit of 500 amps. So I was able to actually integrate that into the wing, and I get 2 power connections, one on each side, where I'm going to run 2 3,000 milliamp 6S batteries. Now the great part about that is it helps to mitigate the heat I was having, because when I had the regular 405 on there and I was running the 4S's before, the amps were too high. I was pulling way too many amps. So the idea was I needed to get the heat down. I needed something that could handle the heat. So I kind of grouped these two together. So there's 2 power distribution boards on this machine. One I'm not using, which is the Speedy B, which I basically just ran 12 volts from the power distribution board I bought, the ADP, from the 12 volt and ground to the battery and ground on the power distribution board for the wing. Doing that gave me the ability to power the board, and the motor signal wires, I only needed just the signal wires to go out to motors 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the power distribution board. Telemetry is another story. I'll deal with that when the time comes, because I've got a telemetry pin on the board, or the ESC, and I have telemetry here. I'm not running ELRS right now. I'm just basically running all these tests with a standard serial bus controller and a Fly Sky radio. So I want to get a better radio. I want to do ELRS, but I don't honestly know enough about INAV and enough about the controlling of PIDs, things like that, to where ELRS would be beneficial to me. I don't know enough about it yet, so I'm kind of getting into it. So again, you've seen the problems that I have on here. I'm going to try and set this up to where you can kind of see everything that's going on and the video and what's going on. So you can watch them together congruently. So we can basically figure out INAV. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me, is I need to figure out INAV. I've seen a lot of tutorials about VTOL, but this is kind of, it's kind of a unique situation. Because not only going with a Y4, which INAV obviously has a setup for a Y4, The position of the motor for the Y4 in the diagram is farther up here, but the yaw is still the same, so that doesn't matter. I do have clockwise, counterclockwise spinning motors. So, you know, I got that. I've got the drone part down. I mean, that arm, I've got angle mode going. I've got arm it, disarm it. But then I switch it, and I've got half signals. See, now it's even less. I'm wondering if that's just, I don't know. Now it's less. It's going 11. So, I don't know. Is it the servos? Do I need a different servo? Why does it keep changing? Because I had 15 almost before, and now I don't. Turn angle mode off. Oh, I turned angle mode off, and I've got more. But it's still not... Yeah, so I got to turn angle mode off when I go into that mode. But see, it's still 3 and 4 that want to move independently. So here's right aileron, left aileron. Right aileron, left aileron. Pitch up, that's going to be that center. Pitch down, it's going to be this one. It'll pitch forward. I mean, you can hear the servo, but like, again, I'm not done building it yet. So, drone mode, though, it seems to work because I've spun it up a little bit and I have moved it around and it's tried to basically adjust itself. I do need to work on the PID because I don't understand it completely yet. So maybe that's another thing you guys can help me with. This is, you know, it's a learning experience for me. And there is a specific purpose behind this concept, which I will get into at a later date. And you guys will be the first to see it. So please subscribe, grow the channel, get the information out there, because I know that a couple of you geniuses out there are already mulling over what's going on here. One thing I do not know anything about is CLI. And it seems like a lot of people are setting up their VTOLs using CLI. I don't know anything about it. I also am concerned about what PID settings I'm going to have to use, considering that these are EDFs. They're going to spin at a higher RPM, so on and so forth. So, without wasting any more time, I will leave you all to it. What is going on? It's resetting. What'd I do? What'd I do? What'd I do? What'd I do? Okay, it's back to drone mode. Okay. And then, see, it goes to plane mode, which is kind of what I want. But, it likes to confuse you. By, like, if you look at the screen, it's showing the plane. I'm afraid to lift it. It's showing the plane, showing it move. Basically, these two motors are going to be my ailerons, and then this looks like a Elevon setup almost on this particular plane. I mean, it would have to be. So maybe I got the wrong plane. I don't know. I don't know. We'll leave it in your guys' hands. Just leave a comment. Please subscribe. Get it out there. And let's solve this issue together. Because I trust the INAV community and the drone community. You guys are great. And I have learned a lot so far, but most of you are going to say, obviously not enough. But we are going to get there. So, again, thank you very much. Do what you can. Do what you can. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I've got EDFs ranging from 64 millimeters. I've got 70, I've got 28, 40s, and 2800 kilovolt 4S motors. Everything like brand new that I just didn't use when I was deciding how to do this project. And if somebody solves this issue for me, You tell me what you want. You want the 464 millimeter EDFs? Do you want the 4S 2840s, 2800 kilovolt motors? I will send them to you as my gift to you for the gift of your knowledge. All right. I hope everyone has a wonderful day and a wonderful week and a wonderful 2024. And let's get this project going. Share your brains, people. Subscribe. Thank you very much.